All right, I'd like to add an addendum to a lot of the stuff that we've discussed because I get some questions, and the very first question is, and these are kind of bonus tips, so to speak, is that, Ken, I can't take the time to stand up in the privacy of my own home or this or that. I only have so much drive time. I'm a trucker, or I drive to work or this or that. Can I do the audio workouts in the car? And the answer is absolutely yes, you can. It's not optimal. We lose up to 30% of our support when we do that, which is a drag, because then you don't get the full understanding of the strength and the freedom that happens when you have that strength in the throat. But if that's the time you've got, I understand. In fact, man, I would drive from Orange County all the way to Los Angeles for practice 3 or 4 times a week. And that was the only time I had to practice. I was working a day gig, and so what I would do is I would do my hour and a half, in traffic workout, and I'd get to rehearsals and I'd sing for 4 hours and come home, drive through some horrible fast food place on the way home, and just call that a day. So yeah, we absolutely could do that. It's not optimal, but if that's what you need to do, absolutely do it. And then when you can, on a weekend or at other times, please try to understand and get full command and the full capacity and full faculty of what it really feels like to release the throat when you're standing up and you have full command of your abdominal cavity. Okay, that's super awesome. The second thing is that the voice has a biological clock, and this is kind of unusual. It's kind of like a time zone when you're traveling on an airplane and you're going to another country, let's say. And all of a sudden, you have to adjust to a different time zone. Your voice does the same thing. So if you're willing to kind of, okay, so let's pick our fictitious date. I have a show on November 30th, and I'm training, but my only time to train is in the morning, okay? So I'm going to train in the morning. Shift your biological clock to about the time of your performance time, a week or 2 in advance, so that the voice gets a chance to get used to being warmed up at that time. In fact, you'll even notice too, if you warm up in the mornings and then you do this a lot, and at night your voice is kind of tired, well, if you shift it later and then you warm up at night and your voice is used to working out at night, then all of a sudden your voice is cool. I'm in a different time zone, biological clock, so to speak, and it's ready for that. So that's awesome. One more thing, small thing, not always doable, but worthy. When you can, breathe through the nose. Breathe through the nose. Lay. Why? Because it warms the breath. In fact, if you've ever seen any sports figures, I don't care if it's professional boxing, let's say, or soccer players on the side of the field, you'll notice that they want them to breathe through their nose. Well, 2 things happen. You get more oxygen that way, which is awesome. And the second thing is that you get moisture that you're not getting. So let me give you an example of this. So have you ever had a really bad chest cold, or head cold, sorry, I meant to say head cold, and you're super clogged up in your nasal cavity, right? And you wake up the next morning after a night of sleep, if you had a good one or half of one, and you go, and you feel so dry in the throat. Well, yeah, that's because it didn't have time to warm the breath with moisture, because we normally enjoy breathing through the velar-nasal port, the nasal cavity, and it warms the breath and creates moisture, and then it adds that moisture to the cords itself. So if you can, when you can, try, and by the way, this is not tenable. If you're running around on a stage or something other crazy thing is going on, you can't do that. I get that, no worries. But if you can, breathe through the nose as often as possible. Next thing is, how often should I do, my training? And boy, that is a big question, because people say, I want to be a rock star, or I just want to do karaoke, or I have a song for my church, or a theater performance for my school, or Broadway, whatever that is, right? It's directly relative to how much time you can put into this, okay? So if you're a guy out on the road and you're going to sing 5 nights a week, you better be warming your butt up every night before you go out, or you're going to lose your voice. If you're a karaoke guy on the weekends, you're a weekend warrior, well, you could do it 2 to 3 times a week, and, you'll see some advances. Now, everything's relative, right? You're going to get out of it what you put into it. So if you can do 5 days a week, that'd be awesome, about an hour a day, be super awesome. And even more than that, if you're a professional or aspiring professional, or you're going to do something more extraordinary, or you're warming up for some certain thing, do your hour warm up and then sing your songs a few times, right? So we're going to get to pacing our set too. I have a whole thing on with professionals or semi-professionals, people that are looking to do that, how they pace their sets. And we'll get to that in a bit. But so there's that. But then if you're not and you're just doing, kind of like I said, a weekend warrior thing, you're singing karaoke on the weekends, try to do it 3 times a week. Come on, everybody's got that. 3-4 times a week, you can do that. No big deal. The next thing is there's lung exercises, and I didn't get a chance to cover a lot of this. And look up something called power lung, because people say, well, I just don't have a lot of breath, and I just don't have a lot of strength in my breath, and or I've got one lung, or emphysema, or bronchitis, or whatever. There are some simple exercises that you can do, and I'm going to do one right now. Okay, so we're going to sit up straight. We're going to go taking the biggest breath that you can. I don't even care if you move your shoulders right now. I don't even care if you kind of break the rules of everything we've talked about. Just you take in the breath, right? I want you to suck in air even more. Tank up on air. Tank up on air as hard as you can. Fill up those intercostal muscles in the lungs as high as you can. And hold it for about 10, 15, 20, even 30 seconds. Right? Hold it. As much as you can tank up on air. And then I want you to blow it out hard. As hard as you can. All the way down. As everything you've got. All the way to the end. Blow out more if you can. Even more. Even more. And hold it. All right. And then take your breath. Now it sounds extreme, but it actually increases lung capacity. Guys, it's kind of like a balloon. We're stretching a balloon in the lungs. So if we can stretch this balloon, we can go back and forth and stretch lung capacity. Now this actually happens naturally when we sing, especially if you do it the way I'm showing you. And then we're not going to use that much air when we sing, because I'm trying to get you guys not to use so much air. That's what glottal compression is all about. But with the total lung capacity of the strength in the lung and that snap of air that you saw me do on the guitar, how bam, how much strength you have from that snap of air when you went, hey! It hits something hard, right? You'll have that, okay? A couple more things. By the way, I want to say one more thing about how long should I train. When we train, I meant to say this before, when we train, it's not about checking off the boxes. Just check off the boxes. Okay, I did my training today. It's about, did I accomplish something today? Did I get farther than I did, 2 weeks ago? Or did I, or am I just kind of go, oh, did that. You know what I mean? Now there are some times we're tired and we do that. It's kind of like working out. I did it in the gym. I didn't add more weight to my workout. I didn't add more whatever. Totally fine. And in fact, depending on what kind of singing you need to do, totally fine with that. But try to kind of like regulate yourself, guys. Be honest with yourselves. Like losing weight. Did I exercise today? How much? Did I just kind of do the treadmill and sort of, be honest with yourselves, because this is going to help you a lot for singing. A couple things. I'm going to get into something called vowel substitutions. And these vowel substitutions are really unique. And I'm going to talk about them separately. But it's the concept of changing a vowel sound that normally would be hard in the throat, and how we're going to change to those vowels to make them easier for all of the vocal tract shaping stuff that we've been working on. So anyway, guys, hopefully this was helpful, and let's continue.